Hi, this is Shaun. I'm back here at the Nutrition Center. I'm here today to teach you about some different types of knife cuts. So our first cut is actually going to be using a bread knife. I have a French baguette here, and I'm actually just going to make some homemade croutons for a salad that I'm going to use to demonstrate our knife cuts today. So we're just going to carefully let the knife do all the work. I'm just going to just saw back and forth. I'm not adding any pressure. I'm not pressing down. I'm just carefully slicing through the bread. And see how it didn't crush the bread at all. That's exactly what the bread knife is designed to do. So I'm just going to cut off a few slices. And I'm keeping my hand, claw hand in my left hand to keep my fingers far away from the knife, as I don't want to cut myself. Also, under the cutting board, I've carefully placed a wet towel so that the board doesn't slide around when I'm cutting. Just going to continue to cut little strips here with this bread knife. Again, holding my left hand with a claw hand to keep my fingers away from the blade. So I have a bowl here. I'm just going to move the knife out of the way. I'm going to put all these little bread cubes in the bowl. I have a little olive oil here. See that? Just going to drizzle a little olive oil over the top here. I'm going to just sprinkle a little Italian seasoning here. I've used just a little bit of crushed red chili flake because I like a little heat on my croutons, some garlic powder, and some onion powder for flavor. I'm just going to kind of stir these around in here. Just kind of evaluate here. You just kind of want to coat them a little bit with oil. These are looking great. They got some good seasoning. I'm going to put these on a sheet pan and we're going to throw them in the oven. All right, so now that we got those croutons in the oven, we're going to start to work on the rest of our vegetable prep while the croutons are cooking. So I think I'll start with the onion, and I'm just going to cut it, show you a couple different styles to cut an onion. So first thing I like to do when I have an onion is to remove the peel, and a good way to do that is just to carefully just remove both ends, spin the onion around, remove both sides, and then you have a nice flat side so that the onion won't roll. So you're going to go right in the middle of that onion, pointing your chef tip of your knife down and just pulling it through. What I like to do is I like to cut a part of the onion to shave. So I'll keep this part for a salad, but I wanted to show you a couple different cuts with an onion in case you need some diced onion, say for some turkey taco meat you might be making for a taco salad. So you're really just going to work with your knife, keep your knife flat, and you're going to use your hand to kind of level your knife and just make that first lateral cut there. And about 1/4 of an inch apart. This is the way that you can dice an onion. So I'm just 1/4 of an inch apart. I'm keeping my hand claw and away from the knife blade. And then we can spin that onion to the side. And I'm just going to do exactly another 1/4, going all the way almost to the end of the onion. And you'll see that this is going to make us a nice dice here. And so now we spin the onion one more time, and we can just dice through it and make nice little diced onion. And for our salad today, I'm just going to do some nice shaved onion. So I'm holding the knife between my finger and my thumb, firmly pressing, wrapping my fingers behind the bolster of the knife, and I'm just going to point my blade forward, and I'm just going to pull through very slowly, using a claw hand and keeping my fingers away from the blade. I'm just going to make really nice thin, and they would call this a julienne cut, as it's just thin strips of produce. And you just want to move slowly, as comfortable as you feel with the knife so that you don't cut yourself. Okay, for our next cut, we're going to demonstrate using a bell pepper. And a bell pepper there's a lot of different ways you can cut a bell pepper. If you're looking to make rings, you can just remove the bottom piece, nice thin slice, and you can cut nice rings with the bell pepper. I'd also like to show you how just to remove the internal seeds very easily. So you just flip the pepper over. You'll remove both sides. You saw me remove the bottom side. I'm removing the top side now. This is all still very edible. And now I'm going to make one incision along the side. I'm going to turn the pepper on its side, and I'm just going to cut along those ribs, removing the ribs, kind of rolling it towards myself, and just removing all of those seeds. And The pepper is now seeded. Now you can cut this into smaller workable portions, and I just usually cut it in about 3 different portions. You can literally stack that pepper, if you're comfortable, on top of itself, and you can begin to make some julienne cuts. And again, julienne cuts are just those nice thin strips. So I'm just gonna, again, holding my point of my knife firmly against the board and just sliding that knife along the cutting board. Notice you can't hear me slicing. That's ideal because that means I'm not doing any damage to my cutting edge of my blade. And you can see I've made some very nice julienne cuts here that we can use on our salad. In fact, because we already julienne sliced some onions, I'm gonna go ahead and just make a nice medium dice with these peppers, and you can just move from one cut to another. So I'm literally just gonna stack these up like firewood. I'm gonna hold them with my claw hand and just move with my knife together to make nice, uniform, medium cuts. Now, if you wanted a larger cut, you can always cut a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch or 1 inch by 1 inch. That's how you get your larger dices, you can see there. And if I wanted to do what they call a brunoise cut, it's really an 1/8 inch by an 1/8 inch, but it's the smallest, most petite cut, and they use this cut to garnish. So I'm just gonna cut that pepper even thinner. I'm just holding my pepper to stabilize it, keeping my fingers clawed and away from the blade, cutting it very thin. And then we would just even cut it. We'd keep them going the same direction. And then we would just imagine the shape that you're going for. That helps you measure when you're cutting, keeping your fingers away from the blade. So I've got some cucumber too that we're gonna throw in our salad. We're just gonna slice some nice thin slices here as well. Notice I changed my position of my hands while using a paring knife. It's really hard to grip a paring knife like this if you're gonna core out an apple or you're gonna remove like a tomato stem. It's easy to hold that way, but I sometimes switch, just as long as the knife is stable is the key component here while I'm slicing these. Lastly, I have some cherry tomatoes here. I'm just gonna half these for our salad. So on the romaine lettuce, I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the stem here. And I also remove just the tops as well, as that area is generally more dirty than the rest. One way to slice this nicely is to stack it up, or to keep it, if it is a nice formed bunch, you can just keep it together. You're just gonna make one cut down the middle, flip your lettuce over, make another cut, and we're just making big long planks of romaine lettuce so that we can then move it, rotate it a 1/2 turn, and now we can just chop some romaine. Holding it together tightly, keeping your fingers out of the way. Have some nice spinach. Spinach is another great leafy lettuce, has a lot of nutrients. So I'm just gonna throw some spinach in here. So I have some blackened kidney beans that are mixed here. We're just gonna throw those in and just kind of mix these in with the salad we're gonna make today. Our radishes that we just sliced, throw these in here. Ooh, this is starting to look like a nice Southwest salad here. Got some nice colorful orange bell pepper that we chopped earlier. Some slices of cucumber. Tomatoes, nice ripe cherry tomatoes, and our delicately sliced red onion. And we don't need a lot of red onion, that's just gonna add a little bit of flavor. And lastly, we made some homemade Italian dressing. So this has some fresh chopped garlic, some thyme, oregano, basil, a little crushed red chili flakes, red wine vinegar, and extra virgin olive oil. And I'm just gonna drizzle that in there. I'm just mixing this in, getting some vegetables throughout, and really kind of marinating, if you will, this salad with Italian dressing. Those nice baked croutons, and we're just gonna go ahead and sprinkle those on top as well. Well, thank you for joining us at the Nutrition Center and Food Pantry today. This is our green salad that we made. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. And if you are looking for more information, you can see the links below.